Well, this West Coast game hit us like Marina Mabrey. With the schedule already dry as a desert, it was clear this matchup against the Valkyrie was going to be a battle. Heavy, physical, and impossible to ignore.
For me here, she's got 9 off the bench.
Golden State within 1, 61-60. Clark stepping back, travel.
Tiffany Hayes.
But that doesn't mean she didn't leave us with a few flashes of magic.
Play Minnesota in the Commissioner's Cup final. Clark letting it fly and got fouled on the 3.
And right from the jump, the Valkyrie were on her. Tight defense, full pressure, no breathing room.
Clark talked about Steph Curry's influence on her game.
Even under that pressure, she kept her composure, threading passes like usual, but her teammates just couldn't cash in early on.
Teams in the W. Boston backing her way down. That time no good.
Also from beyond the arc, they couldn't find the mark.
Toby and Morgan Reagan with you. 7-0 Golden State run.
But luckily, around the 7th minute, the tide started to turn.
Clark, and she pulls it out. The dish inside to Howard is good. Caitlyn Clark, second in the league in assists per game. Cole, the best three-point shooter in the league. Down low, Howard.
They were finally getting going, building a little run. And even if Caitlyn didn't always get credit with the assist, she was clearly the one getting the offense in rhythm.
It's a 9-0 Fever run. Make it 11.
But attacking the rim was a different story. That brutal game against the Sun seemed to have taken its toll.
Her first minutes guarding Clark. Clark the floater off. Is 0 for 2 to start her evening. On the drive, Clark, no good.
However, she picked up on that fast and channeled all that energy into dropping dimes instead.
Love that. Tiffany Hayes starting everything off and then Carla Lake stop and pop.
Howard running, but down low, Howard again.
Off of one leg for Kate Martin. More of that.
Boston responds.
Howard was getting fed like a star receiver, and the Fever kept the ball moving to keep that lead intact.
At the scores table, as Howard breaks free again.
But getting her own buckets was still a problem. Fatigue and the constant physical play were clearly taking their toll.
The field, guarded by her teammate in college. And blows right by her, but missed the layup.
That didn't mean she gave up though. She kept pushing and eventually got rewarded for her fight.
Game over 500 as Clark finally gets in the box score. She's 1 of 7 from the field.
1 of 7 shooting says it all. This wasn't her best night. And even on defense, the refs weren't giving her any favors either.
At the top, Clark getting all the way in the paint.
But to close out the half, the Fever nailed a buzzer beater, a much-needed boost of confidence heading into the break.
Clock going down. Caitlyn Clark passing. It's Boston at the buzzer. And she puts it in. It counts. Aaliyah Boston from downtown.
A nice little 6-point cushion, and coming into the third, the refs finally gave Caitlyn a break.
Again, we'll play Minnesota in the Commissioner's Cup final. Clark letting it fly and got fouled on the 3.
Mo Billings doesn't like that one.
After draining all 3, she wasted no time, back to firing lasers, and once again, Howard was on the receiving end.
Coach Nakase has her staying in the game as Howard puts it down, plus a foul.
What a strong...
But that still wasn't enough to snap the 3-point drought, so she switched it up and got her buckets the gritty way.
And right there, just knocking down a big one.
Clark, beautiful move to respond.
However, let's be honest, 4th quarter and still no 3. That's a huge dent in the Fever's offense. And with calls like this going against them,
attendance as well, maybe the #1 super fan of this team, as we start the 4th quarter and an offensive foul against Indiana right off the bat.
It was shaping up to be a long uphill quarter. They shook it off, but just seconds later, the refs were back at it, targeting Caitlyn again with another questionable call.
For me here, she's got 9 off the bench.
Golden State within 1, 61-60. Clark stepping back, travel.
Tiffany Hayes putting on the pressure.
It's insane how much people are fixated on her downfall, almost LeBron-level scrutiny. And with the away crowd this loud, it felt like the refs froze, too scared to blow the whistle in her favor.
Clark swallowed up by the Valkyrie defense.
Even when a Valkyrie player aimlessly ran straight into her, the whistle still went against the Fever.
Adjustments at the half.
And Clark gets called for the foul on Hayes.
With calls like that, their lead vanished. Now, they weren't just battling the opponent, but the officials too. Caitlyn looked exhausted, but somehow she still found the energy to chase.
This is Caitlyn Clark. 7 points right now. Clark, make it 9.
It was a relatively small lead, but even luck wasn't on her side.
Clark steps back, in and again.
Then, with 3 minutes left, it felt like the refs entered their own little world, blowing the whistle on nearly every Fever possession, killing any chance at rhythm or momentum.
Clark gets free, they wave off the shot. She's
Spray back out to Kayla Thornton for her 5th 3 of the night.
The lead grows as Clark hits a logo 3 that doesn't count.
Yep. She finally broke loose, but it didn't count. From that point on, it was basically over for Caitlyn and the Fever. The Valkyrie talked their talk, and the refs let it slide. A prime example of how much officiating can impact a game, and how a packed schedule can drain even the brightest stars.